All right, folks, we are live. Welcome to the Giant Insider Podcast, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook on the Believe Network. My name is Jerry Foley. I'm the senior editor of the Giant Insider newspaper. And with me, as always, is the beat writer in the heart of Giants Nation. Nobody beats the biz. Chris Bizignano. Oh, Chris, let me just start off with this statement that John Harbaugh made. It's a profound honor to be entrusted with coaching the New York Football Giants. I mean, listen, he said a lot of things today that I liked, and I'm sure a lot of Giant fans loved. But, you get the sense, dude, that this franchise is back, at least on the path to becoming a legitimate franchise again. It just felt like everything was right with this guy. You feel like you want to play tomorrow, right? Put on the shoulder pads and the helmet and get out there and do whatever he asks for. Very motivating speech. Again, it's all talk right now. It's the off season, but I don't know how you come away from this presser not feeling good about the direction of the franchise, man. And then you see all the clips of Chris Mara talking and Shane a bit, but they got their guy. And man, did first impressions. And we know John Harbaugh, but it was the first time he met with the New York press, and it was one hell of a first impression, bro. I loved it.
Yeah, he's a fiery guy. He's a guy you want to play for. Looks that way, but look, except for McAdoo, after every press, everybody's fired up, right? But here's the big difference.
Yeah,
is that John Harbaugh has a resume, bro.
Yeah,
he's a resume. The guy's got a 612 winning percentage. He's won a Super Bowl. He's been in the playoffs 13 and 18 years.
Yep.
So yeah, I've been to these presses before, and I remember when Joe Judge spoke. It was like, "Oh man, we got the guy. This is great.
Yeah.
Oh my God, run to a wall for this guy." But the difference this time is that John Harbaugh has a resume. So you add the resume into his, with his presser today, and it's like, holy shit,
Yeah.
But even if Harbaugh went up there today and was very blah, I was like, I'm happy to be here. Can't wait to get going. Okay, here's my wife. Let's talk about my kid. Thank you, everybody. Okay, take care. We'll see you in the spring. Everybody be like, "Oh, I was a little blah," but it's John Harbaugh.
Yeah,
look at his resume, man. But this guy can coach football. This guy's a football guy,
Yep.
So you add his presser today, and obviously he's a very enthusiastic. You could see it in his face that this dude really he just really wanted this job and all that, and he just absolutely loves being here. And he absolutely loves and honored. He feels like the Giants would approach him first and want him to be the head coach of the Giants and all that. He talked about it today. His wife talked about it on the side. His father, Jack, talked about it today. I was talking with Chris Mara, and he was talking about it today.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. And, and then you see John, and he's like, a lot of Giants players showed up for him today. I mean, there was a lot of guys there. There's a lot of former players there. And, talking to Richie Seibert after the press, and he came away like, man, you want to put the pads on for this guy, and all that stuff. So that's the type of coach he is. But the thing here, and the big thing is that these presses are all great and everybody's excited, but John Harbaugh could coach. He has proven that, man. That's the main thing. The main thing is that he could coach. Now we'll see what coordinators he brings in here, which is going to be huge because he doesn't call the plays defensively or offensively. So that's going to be huge. And, he's made some decisions over the years where it didn't really work out great coordinator-wise. So, but that's going to be the key too. But John's the type of guy that he has his hand in everything. He's a football guy, man. He's a football guy. So it's all great. 13 and 18 years he's made the playoffs. A ridiculous record. Super Bowl champion, beating his brother, developing 2 young quarterbacks. Now he has his third. What more can you ask for?
Yeah, and you commented on X about it. Tom Coughlin played an integral part in this. Do you want to expand on that? Is there anything else you learned today being there?
Well, we learned a lot from Chris Mara. Chris spoke to the media on the side and spoke for a while. And he said he had no connection with John Harbaugh, and Coughlin reached out to him, told Chris, I'm going to set up a luncheon. Get your ass, as Coughlin's told Mara, get your ass down to Baltimore. I'm setting up a meeting with you and John Harbaugh at his house. And that's what they did. And Chris went down there, drove down to Baltimore, and met with John. He was the first one. expressed his interest, got to feel what he was thinking. And look, and that really impressed Harbaugh. It really impressed him. The Giants went down there. And when he left, and Chris Mara left that luncheon with that meeting with John at his house, Chris Mara called his brother John and said, "Hey, this guy wants to be the coach of football Giants. I'm telling you right now." And Chris had total confidence that they could get it done. He had total confidence that they could get this guy. And they would do what they had to do to get him. And the Giants did what they had to do to get him. So, credit to Chris Mara. He said a lot of things today as far as, the big thing, like I've been trying to shoot down everybody, but, people just want to believe what they want to believe as far as the perception that he does not have to report to Joe Shane. He wants nothing to do with Joe Shane. Joe's not just a figurehead now. He's just going to report strictly to John Mara, and that's it. He could care less about what Joe Shane thinks and all that stuff. And Chris, it's totally, completely overblown, this whole thing. Chris says we always basically did that. John said, we always basically did that. Is it a chain of command? Sure, it was with us. But it wasn't like, we never, like a head coach, we never conferred a head coach and all that stuff. Yeah, the head coach and GM have to work together. That's what we always believed in. Yeah, was John going to have some more say in some things? Absolutely, especially around the building, the way he wants things and all that. And are they going to work together? And he mentioned it numerous times today. Him and Shane are working together. He really thinks very highly of Joe Shane. He's been around like John said today, he's been around a long time. He's a good football guy. And we're texting and we're getting to know each other. And we're seeing things, in a clear picture together. And we're going to work, they're starting to get to know each other really well and all that stuff. So, I know a lot of people thought Harbaugh was going to go in and whack Joe and say, no, I'm not getting this. I'm not taking this job unless Shane's out of here. That wasn't the truth. At no time does Harbaugh even imply that, man, maybe we should move on from the GM if you really want me. Wasn't even an issue. So, everybody will work together. And then for one goal, that's to get this team back to the playoffs, get this team playing winning football.
How was Shane today? It seemed like he was a little bit off his game addressing everybody. I don't know if because it was a big crowd or what was the first thing I noticed when I started watching the presser.
Yeah, he was a little nervous, he looked like.
Yeah, it looked like he was almost like taking deep breaths. And I'm like, I've been there. Like I've talked to in my line of work, you talk to groups sometime and you're a little like, let me take a step back and take a breath and maybe get a drink of water. But he seemed like he was a bit off. But then in the interviews, he was his normal self, I thought. I just kind of was, maybe he was shocked at how many people were there. I don't know, but he was a little off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what was up with Joe today, man. At first, he looked like he was, I was like talking to the guy next to me saying, man, Joe looks nervous, man.
Yeah.
I don't know, because they just came from the 10-degree weather, and I don't know what the hell, because it was so damn cold walking from the Giants building over to the field house.
Right.
I don't know. It was strange, man. He was a little seemed very uptight and a little nervous and all that stuff. Look, Joe has spoken to us before, man, in front of crowds. It's not like, I mean, as a matter of fact, his bye week presser was way more pressure than today. Today he just introduced John. Congratulations, all that. I mean, the presser a month ago in December, he was really under the lamp, as we used to say back in the day, getting grilled, so it was just, he was a little strange here, but then he seemed to settle down. He met with us on his side and he was pretty calm and cool again. I don't know what that was about. I don't know if he just nerves hit him there, but he saw the cameras because I mean, Jerry, there was 1 million cameras today and there was 1,000 media people today. So so it was a big thing, and maybe the moment got to Joe at first. I don't know. So
yeah. I was gonna ask you, if you don't mind, some of the conversations you had on the side, what was Seibert saying? Like, what were some of the guys saying about Harbaugh being there? And I don't know who else you spoke to, but can you let any insight on that?
Just the reputation of John. Stephen Baker was there. I was talking with him a little bit. Otis Anderson was there, who lost a lot of weight, by the way. I was talking with him. Yeah. And just the feel is just like, hey, you know what? This guy is a Harbaugh. This guy is a football guy. This is the type of guy you want to play for, man. And I think everybody feels like, hey, this guy's going to get this straightened out. He's going to get this team on the right path.
Yeah.
Nobody's talking Super Bowls, nothing like that. John believes, he came out and he thinks we could be a playoff team next year. That's great. We'll have to see, as far as that goes. But he likes the roster. He loves Jackson Dart. Thinks very highly of Dart. He thinks this roster has a lot of talent on it. And why not? But his approach is every day. That's John Harbaugh's approach. Like every day you have to make it your best day. And he talked about it today. Either the best, you make it your best practice, make it your best weight room session. If today's squat day, we'll make that your best squat day session, right? When you go on a meal, make it your best meal. When you're at a meeting, make it your best meeting. Everything's about football. Just strive to be the best every day. And the one vision, right? That's culture. Everybody on the same page with the one vision of what we need to do. And I like today, he said, when he goes, we want guys that love football.
I was just going to touch on that. Yep.
And if you don't like football, and if this isn't your life and you don't want, you don't love football, then we'll get you out of here.
Yeah.
So
it goes
I
back
like
to,
that.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say I like that because there might be a few guys that, better straighten their ass out in this Giants locker room because John Harbaugh's going to sniff you out if you're full of shit and act like you love it, but you really don't.
Yeah. I mean, it goes back to Parcells used to ask the one question, give me the 3 most important things in your life. He would say, I don't care if football's third, but it's got to be top 3. You could put God, you could put family, whatever, but football's got to be 3. So that was refreshing as a fan to hear him say that. And it's so basic. Like you just think but I get an idea of who you're talking about too. It's like, you wonder how quickly he's going to weed that out and say, all right, well, we're going to move on from here and we're going to bring someone else in. People asking in the stream, was Dart there? No, I think he was at the Utah Mammoth game last night or something.
He wasn't there. Dart wasn't there today. No, I'm sure he has. Look, it's your season. Guys all over the country.
He was at the Utah Mammoth game, I think. From what I saw. But I love that. I love that comment, and it just seems so basic, but it's something the franchise is.
Utah Mammoth game.
Yeah, the hockey game. Hockey game.
On a Tuesday afternoon, he could have been at the hockey game.
No, last night. No, last night. Last night.
Oh, last night. Oh, I'm talking about today. Okay. No.
Well, I know.
I mean, look, he's probably home.
Yeah.
He's probably home, and look, guys are all over the country, man. Tyrone Tracy happened to fly back. All that stuff, but guys are doing things, man. If you fly back, you fly back. But there's a lot of people there. No one struck me, Jerry.
Yeah.
Today.
What's up?
There was unrestricted free agents there. Guys that don't have a contract. A lot of times guys are like, okay, I don't know what my future is. I'm not gonna. All right, maybe I'll meet the hooker, maybe I won't. But I saw guys like Chris Manhurst and Van Rote. Guys that are on UFAs and they're there. Hey, coach, how you doing? They might not even be here.
I thought I saw. Did I see a Zudu there too?
Josh Zudu was there.
Yeah, I saw that as well. Like Josh Zudu's there. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, the point being, Jerry, is that these guys might not even be Giants.
No, I know.
You know what I mean?
They're
not even on the contract, and then they're meeting Coach Harbaugh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I found that a little interesting, man, because, like I said, I mean, the Giants, Joe Shane might be, and when him and Harbaugh start getting together with the roster, UFAs who we're going to move on from and all that stuff. Some of those guys are probably going to be there. Yeah, we're moving on from him. You know what I mean? So
right. That's what I thought. But as soon as I saw Josh Zudu, I was like, all right, cool. Yeah. Good for you, Josh. We'll see.
I just found that interesting. Even a Van Roten, he might be back, might not be, and Manhurst might be back, might not be. But there they were. Meeting the new coach, and I found that a little interesting, man. So, but Jackson wasn't there. Yeah, most of the team wasn't there. There was a good showing. Offensive line was the best showing. They had the best showing. So,
and it looked like he was genuinely happy to see players there. Like he looked over, there's my players. I'm like, oh, look at this.
Yeah, sure, man, sure. You come in and you see a bunch of you guys, and then you find out guys like Tyrone Tracy just got engaged or married or something, flying back up, just for this presser. And it's it had to make him feel good, man. It had to make him feel good. So that's good stuff. He went over to him, and John, I actually heard him. He's like, oh, let's get in the weight room. Let's go. Let's get it going. That's Harbaugh's all about football, man. This is the Harbaugh family we're talking about, man. His father Jack was there.
Yeah.
He's got to be in his 80s now, and he's all fired up talking. They just absolutely love it. They're football family, man. So What more can you ask for, man? You could be a football family, but not very good at coaching. They were a football family that's real good at coaching. Jim and John and Jack was a real good coach. Their dad.
So you mentioned the father. You put out a post on X earlier that you got the sense that Carmen Brasillo may be returning. Is Harbaugh's father? There's a rumor that Harbaugh's father had an opinion on that as well, keeping Carmen Brasillo. Any truth to that? Do you know?
Yeah. He told a few people that he was studying them during the year and studying them, I guess, on film, and he said to John, he says, "Man, you might want to keep this Brasillo guy. Because these guys are blocking up front. These guys are blocking. They're blocking people up front, man." So and John talked about he's going to meet with the current coaches, the coaches that are on his staff. I think he's going to meet with them tomorrow.
Sure.
He was asked about Brasillo on the side, and you could see kind of like, yeah, well, it's what we're going to be looking at a few guys to stick around here. It looks like blah blah blah. I just got that feeling that Brasillo is going to be one of them. Now, that's not definite. I'm just getting that feeling that Brasillo, and look, and all kidding aside, when John Harbaugh's dad tells his son, this Brasillo guy could coach. These guys are blocking guys up front. Don't think John's like, yeah, Daddy, okay, that's great. Thanks for letting me know. And just keeps walking. No, they take what their father says. Jim and John always go back to their dad. Going back to their dad about football, going back and forth.
That's awesome. Yeah, good stuff. Anything surprise you today, or was it like, nah, this is pretty much what I expected?
Yeah, that was pretty much what I expected. There was nothing surprising about anything.
Yeah.
I guess Joe Shane looked like he saw a ghost up there. Maybe that was a little surprising.
Yeah.
Look like he was having, like you said, like K-Max said, was he having a panic attack up there? I don't know. Joe wasn't himself, but Joe was asked about extensions, and he's not gonna get into that, and all that stuff. But
he said, that's not about that. Yeah. Right.
Do I expect Joe to be extended? Yeah.
Now you do. Right. Yeah. Sure.
I do now, kind of be extended with Harbaugh, so and look, for so many people and even us talking about the roster and a lot of misses and all that. Well, you see Harbaugh coming out today saying one of my main attractions to this team was the roster, the talent on this roster. So you got to give Joe Shane credit there, man. I mean, he's the guy that's the architect, right? And it's not just Jackson Dart. He talked about other guys. And so credit to Joe Shane as far as having enough guys, getting enough guys on this roster that even John Harbaugh looked at and said, hey, you know what? That was one of my attractions. There's a lot of talent on this team, man. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to come here, So you got to give credit when credit's due, man. Look, has Joe done a lot of things wrong, especially with the number one picks? No question. But he also has put guys in his roster, traded for guys like Burns and drafted some other guys that John Harbaugh. Look, you don't have to believe me. That's what John Harbaugh said today, So
yeah. Leslie, that's my fault. I'm in Milwaukee right now, and the time change on YouTube, it adjusted for it. I didn't think it did, so I pushed it. That's why it said 10 o'clock. Yeah, that's my fault. Sorry about that. I didn't know how that works with doing a live stream from YouTube. I scheduled it for 9 originally, and then it said, you're going on at 8. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And then I changed it to 9 and it made it 10. So that's that. So I hate the time change anyway. Sorry about that, Leslie. Sorry, guys who've joined late, but looks like a lot of you are on right now. Really appreciate it. Chris, you said before about the structure and that they were working that out. Did you ever get the sense over the weekend that this was going to go south or no?
No.
Because we hadn't spoken since last podcast. And I didn't either. I felt like some people, the doom scrollers, I felt like we can't even enjoy this, man. Like, can we just enjoy that we're going to get a really good coach in here and it's going to happen? Like this is the bad part of social media. And I'll just go on the soapbox real quick. Like 25 years ago, if you heard Friday night that a coach had agreed to something and then it wasn't a news story, and then Monday morning it'd say, oh, we actually signed his contract on Sunday. There was no in between. It was just, oh, he agreed. We're getting Harbaugh or getting whoever. And then he signed Sunday. But the 48 hours of just mayhem on social media was just like, guys, get a life, man. This is going to happen. I never, unless you're panicking, I'm not panicking. But it just, that was annoying. That was a kind of annoying over the weekend just to kind of watch all that. Everybody became a contract expert and, I mean, like, guys, I'm not like in my line of work, there are $15,000 contracts that take 6 months. Sometimes it just takes a while. They were going to get this one done quickly. So this was more complicated, but a lot more at stake for it. So I was just looking at this going, holy crap, everybody's a freaking expert now. But I was so glad.
Well, it wasn't money. It had nothing to do with money.
Right.
It was everything I reported. They were just ironing out the structure of the franchise. Look, the Giants always believed in one way, and they were going to make changes for Harbaugh. That's it.
Right.
So they had to get a lot of stuff straightened out. And look, the one team I was worried about that I told you was still reaching out to him because he didn't put his signature on the dotted line, Harbaugh, Saturday until like the afternoon, and Tennessee kept reaching out to him. They kept trying, but I was not worried about it at all. I know there's some stuff out there. Well, almost broke down. Maybe it did. But for people that told me, they're like, look, we had to straighten some stuff out, but we didn't. There wasn't a time where we felt like we're going to lose Harbaugh.
Yeah. All right. Andy, thanks, buddy. Really appreciate it. Andy Hart 613 it asks, do you think Dable is a good fit for Buffalo? Yes, a great fit for Buffalo as an OC. Incredible.
I could see him going back as an OC if Brady moves on somewhere. Yeah. I'm not quite sure they want him as a head coach after the last 3 years. What's happened? He's fired halfway through last year. Yeah. But, Dable's trying to get up there. You know that. You know what I mean? So, Dable's trying to get back there either as an OC or as a head coach. I think Dable's only had one interview for head coach. That was Tennessee, I believe. Unless I'm missing something. I think he's only interviewed for one team. And Robert Saleh wound up getting that job.
And sorry, not picking on Saleh, Chris, but what a downgrade if you're hoping for Harbaugh and got Saleh. I'm like, oh wow, all right, cool. Wow, that was a little surprising for me. I look at what happened with the Jets there as just, but anyway, we're not the Titans. I don't care as much, but that was kind of surprising to me. That was quite a downgrade. Yeah. Would you have worried about Buffalo if Harbaugh had not signed yet with the Giants for him or no? It's all what if. I'm just curious.
I got to be honest with you. I think John wanted this job.
Okay.
After he met with Chris Maverick, he basically made it known to the Giants that I want this job. And there was a reason why Chris called John on the way home and says, this guy wants this job.
Yeah.
He wants to be the head coach of the Giants. And even, like I said, with his dad, after Chris Maverick met with him and he called his dad, and his dad says are you freaking kidding me? This is the New York effing Giants we're talking about here. You'd be crazy not to take that job. Now, things have to get worked out, money-wise, structure-wise, power, all that stuff. But I got to be honest with you, even if Buffalo played last week, lost to the wild card round to Jacksonville, I'm not saying he wouldn't be, but it's not like I'm going to sit here and go, oh, no, Giants would never had him. I think he wanted to be a head coach of the New York Giants. I really do.
Yeah.
I think he wanted to be the head coach. God, Jerry, he didn't meet with any other teams.
Yeah.
I'm talking about in person.
In person, right, sure. Yeah.
He met one team, Jerry.
Yeah.
One. The Giants.
Yeah.
That's it. He was supposed to meet with the Tennessee Titans on that Thursday at his home. He canceled that.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he met 3 teams, Jerry, and said, you know what? Oh, boy, I bet you if Buffalo would have came along now, well, he would have met with them. He met with one team. He wanted this job.
Yep.
He wanted this job.
Yeah.
Obviously things could fall down and not happen, but John Harbaugh made it known, like I reported 2 weeks ago, a week and a half, whatever. He wants to be the head coach of the Giants. Get it done.
Yeah.
And Chris Maverick got it done, and John Maverick got it done, and Mr. Tisch got it done.
Yeah.
I even fooled him out with Steve Tisch today. I saw Steve Tisch today. I fooled him. I asked if I could borrow his airplane to go down to Florida with this cold weather.
So, what did he say? Did he laugh or no?
He looked at me, laughed like I was nuts, But it was,
nice.
It was, they got it done, man. I mean, because they knew John wanted this job.
Right.
They knew he wanted to be the head coach of the Giants. Yeah. He made it known. John Harbaugh is not known around league circles as a bullshit type guy. I felt like John, there's so many bullshit guys in this business. Head coaches, coaches. They're all backstabbers. They're all weasels. They all work back. John Harbaugh is not known for that, brother. He's known as a straightforward guy. He was asked today about, you're talking about a God-fearing family, man. He was asked today about, the Ravens job, moving on 18 years. Do you feel anything? What did he say today? He was like, listen, this is where God wants me to be, I guess. I don't look in the past. They were great over there, but this is where I am now. It's not a big deal. Changes happen in life. I'm over here now,
Yeah.
And so when John Harbaugh, when Chris left that day and tells his brother John that this guy wants to be the coach of the Giants, we got to get, and he wasn't, Harbaugh wasn't bullshit of Jerry. If he was like this about the Giants, he would have met with 2-3 other teams.
Right.
He met one team. He comes, Tish flies him up that
got
Wednesday.
a good point. Like he didn't even play one team against the other, not offers anything. Yeah, he just met with the Giants. Yeah. Couple super chats I want to get to real quick. Tuto, always, man, massive respect to Kings of New York Giants media. Our season ended, and I'm back in America with my fam. Greetings from my entire family in Princeton, New Jersey. What's up, man? Nice.
Yeah.
And
Tuto's back.
Jay Farris with a contribution, and again with Andy.
Thank you, Joe.
Andy asks, can Kafka work with Harbaugh, or is he gone?
I think Mike's gone. I don't think he's going to be around.
Someone else had a good question for you. I want to ask it. Hang on 1 second. I'll find it. Oh, here we go. From Liam. And by the way, guys, thank you so much for the contributions. We really appreciate it, man.
Yep.
Liam MM839 asks, Biz, are we going to get food reviews from the new dining hall they're putting in?
I don't know. We'll see next year. I'll try to do another podcast from there. We'll see.
All right.
But they are expanding a lot of the facility. Yeah.
David asks, Harbaugh mentioned Rex Ryan. Is that true?
Yes. He spoke very glowingly of Rex Ryan on the fan. He was with Tiki and Evan Roberts on the fan, and they asked him about Rex and the coordinator, and he spoke very glowingly of him. Like, he's a good coach. We keep in touch a lot. I don't know if he's interested in this and that, but I guess Tiki, somebody said, like, you're going to give him a call. And John says, well, we talk all the time, so I found that interesting. Now, I don't know, but like, if Rex wants to get back in coaching, to me, it seems like, him and John might, it's not crazy to think that. You know what I mean? It's not
Chris,
crazy
this would be
that.
like in wrestling when someone turns from a bad guy to a good guy and the crowd goes nuts. That's what it would feel like a face turn, like heel to face.
I don't know. I don't know if Rex wants to get back into business. I really don't. But the way John spoke about him today is like, it's not out of the question.
I would not be against. I'm telling you right now, I would not be against it. As a defensive coordinator, they love him. His players like it. Aggressive. His players love him.
Players love him. Run through a wall for him, right? I mean, John was saying today about how great of a game he calls, all that stuff, man. So I tell you, man, I would not. and John said how Rex, has kept up with the game, knows what's going on, all that stuff, man. So I found it interesting that he asked by Harbaugh today. Like, it seemed like it wasn't out of the question.
That would be funny, man.
OC wise, I got the impression OC wise, it's going to be Todd Monken if he does not get a head coaching job.
Do you have any opinion on that?
Todd Monken?
Yeah.
No, not at all. I wouldn't mind to hire at all. He's a good offensive mind, man. He's a pretty good, damn good coach.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, Chris. I'm not going to get too into the coordinator hires, only because, like, this is why we hired John Harbaugh. Like, I'm not going to sit there and question almost anything he does for a while. Like, we hired a guy who's been winning for the better part of 18 years. He doesn't need my help to choose a coordinator. I can have an opinion on someone, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to go nuclear over anybody. Like, how the hell do you hire that special teams coach? Like, who cares? It's John Harbaugh. He's been doing it forever. I would, but Rex Ryan would be very, very, very interesting. His speeches were incredible. So I know, man.
Something though.
Couldn't stand Rex Ryan, but I may give it. Yeah, absolutely. He's on your side now.
Rex Ryan's the type of guy, like, if he's on your side, you'll love him, right?
He's Sean Avery. He's the nudge in hockey. He's that guy. When he's on your team, you love him. When he's not, you hate him. So, Ryan was Jets coach, wasn't he? Yes, he was. Yes, he was, Andy. He was the Jets head coach. Good stuff. I like his persona on ESPN. I think I found Rex more endearing when he left the Jets. Like, I couldn't stand him as a Jets head coach, but I remember he was on something, and he was on a show, and they criticized Coughlin. Somebody criticized Coughlin for going to see one of his grandkids played a sport or something. And Rex Ryan lit into that person. It's like, that guy's an idiot. And Coughlin laughed like almost, and I was like, oh, okay, Rex, like, he's all right. Like he's in situations like that, you just kind of see these guys, and the way he would speak about, even when the Giants drafted Daniel Jones, he's like, this is a great pick. What are you guys talking about? So he was one of the only ones that liked Daniel Jones at the time. And I would tell my Jet fan buddies, yeah, I like Rex Ryan. He's right. They're like, you hate him. I'm like, no, he's cool. He's fine now. So, John Fenwick says, hey guys, greatest thing about today is now John Merrick can relax, pay attention to his treatments, getting better, taking care of himself, and his family coach got the hell. That's a good point, man. Was John there today, Chris? I didn't see him. Was he? Okay. He was just kind of off to the side.
Yeah. No. He was sitting in the front row. He was sitting right in front of me. 2 rows.
Okay. In front of me. Yeah, I didn't see him on camera at all. I saw everybody talking to Chris on what is it?
John wasn't going to talk to anybody. John wasn't going to talk to anybody. But he was there. Yep.
All right.
Yep. But Chris was the man. He was the one that spoke with the media for a while on the side. So Chris is back in. He's back in the mix.
Yeah, listen, for a guy that got so much shit over the years, who wasn't even involved nearly to the point that people wanted to give him shit, I was kind of happy for him today, speaking to the media, talking about this. I liked what he said about with Coughlin when he said, what did Coughlin say? He turned, he goes, get your ass down there. That's what Coughlin said to him. And then he said, go ahead.
No, like I said at the beginning of the podcast, he called Chris and said, Coughlin had the contacts to hook up with Harbaugh, and he said, get your ass down to Baltimore. I'm hooking up a meeting,
And I love that Chris said, yeah, how was Coughlin? He yelled at me before, he yelled at me during, and he yelled at me after the whole process was done.
Well, that's typical Coughlin, right?
Yeah.
And he's got, Chris Barrett's got a good sense of humor, man. He's a pretty funny dude. He's very, relaxed and chill, and you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
But, look, talking to him today, and he said they were confident they were going to get him. They knew John wanted to be the coach here. Just a matter of getting it done,
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. And John was fired up to be. You saw it today, man. He was fired up to be here.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Anything else that stood out? Any conversations you had you want to share? This is kind of like the Chris Presser podcast, because I'm not going to add much to this one, guys. Was there anything that anybody said that you heard that you laughed at, or anything funny, any joking, besides asking for Steve Tish's private jet? Any other conversations that you had?
No, not really. Just nothing worth saying.
Okay.
Nothing much. Trying to think of something else that John said. Besides, it seemed like he really impressed with Dart, like I said.
Yeah.
Texted with Joe Shane a lot. They're going back and forth. Texted a lot during the playoff games. What we see here, blah, blah, blah. And stuff like that. So it seems like they're off to a good start, relationship wise. And John, you talk to people, like John's not a hard guy to get along with. As a matter of fact, somebody from the Baltimore beat was telling me about how he's just a great guy, man. Just like he's the type of guy who gets to know everybody in the building, including like Dable was like that. He knew the chefs, the guys in the cafeterias. This guy Dable got to know everybody, and you'd be surprised if you're wondering. Believe me, a lot of coaches could give a crap. Less about a lot of people.
Yep.
But Harbaugh's the type of guy that gets to know everybody. But the thing is with Harbaugh, is accountability, right? It's accountability where you better be on board. Like, he's a player's coach, but he's going to let you know where he stands,
Right.
And if you're not on board, he's going to get you the hell out of here. Not try to be your friend or maybe fine you and go, okay, well, here's a $500 fine, straighten this out. No, he's going to get you the hell out of here, man. So there's a couple of guys in this locker room on this Giants team that, better get on board.
Yeah.
Better be all in.
Some are very obvious. Yes. Without you saying a word. Yeah.
It's not going to matter. Harbaugh's going to get you the hell out of here. Just like the old saying goes, we could finish 4-13 without you,
That's what George Young to Brad Van Pelt. Yeah, you're right. Brad, you're great. We can go 3-12-1 without you. I was going to say, guys have to do more than just return kicks. They have to play cornerback too, and love it. So, okay, that's all I got.
I thought it was pretty funny when John talking about his brother Jim saying he can relax now I'm not in the AFC anymore.
Yeah, right.
I like that one. That was, those two always, I'm sure, breaking each other's, what. So
That had to play a part in it too. No, like you don't want to play in the same conference as his brother, right?
nah, he played it. He was in the same conference with him.
Yeah, it's
for the last 2 years.
Yeah, I guess maybe like going forward. I don't know. Yeah.
Is it a bonus? Sure. Yeah, you don't have to go against your brother in the AFC playoffs or something like that. But the dude was they weren't in the same conference and they faced each other in the Super Bowl. So, but I'm sure. Look, I'm sure he doesn't want to be in the same division with his brother or the same conference. That's a bonus, But they had fun of it. He was making a joke out of it, but he doesn't have to go against his brother Jim and all that stuff. So he missed it by a year.
Not sure. James Hutchins says, I have lumbar spinal stenosis, and John Harbaugh had me hopping, jumping, and doing cartwheels. Best day I've had in a while. Good for you, James. Good stuff, buddy.
he's like an apostle, man, with the powers, huh?
There it is. Nice. I think Harbaugh would be better at press conferences.
I think Harbaugh would be better at press conferences. John, I've seen John get a little stocky after losses at times, but he's just a straight shooter, man. He'll be better for us, no doubt about it. Like Dable was like pulling teeth. But
everything was the CIA, right?
Everything was, with Dable. So I think John will be better as far as that goes. So
it was the whole Belichick. I don't trust the media, but when you don't win and do that, that's tough. So it works when you win. When you're not winning, it's brutal.
Yeah.
All right.
So
guys, if you have any more questions, just fire them away. Otherwise, live from 9-Ball, Arkansas. Nice.
9-Ball, Arkansas. Is that really a place? 9-Ball.
I'd have to look it up.
Wow.
I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, that's a good point by Ken Alvis here.
Yep.
Loved how a couple of times he pointed at Sean and Shane and said, right, Joe, and this and that. Yeah, sure. Yeah. You look for the little things, right? You look for the little things. It seemed like they were having some fun with each other. Yeah, and that's good. They got to work with each other, man. They got to work with each other. So.
All right. Good stuff. Sorry, guys. Hey, Chris, hit your Christmas present yet? Oh, right. Have you hit your Christmas present yet?
No. Leslie, no, I haven't.
All right.
And it looks like I won't be hitting anytime soon. Unless I go indoors.
What is it there? What's the temperature there, Chris?
It's 1 degree, buddy.
Yeah, okay, because it's 2 here. Okay, all right.
I just came back. Where are you?
Milwaukee.
Oh, Milwaukee. Okay. Well, it's. I just came in for my truck and it said like 5 degrees or something. Went down to 1, back to 5. So it's gonna be a cold one tonight, man. So yeah, Leslie, make it happen. I'll go inside the doors at Heron. Make it happen, bro.
We'll just go one more question. So thanks, fellas. Good vibes 2026. Coffee Dog. Enjoy. See you soon. One more. Richie M. How many Ravens free agents are going to be on board here? He's going to be aggressive with going after some Ravens guys, no?
Oh, I would imagine.
There's a center over there that we liked in the draft, or I liked in the draft a few years back. So we'll see. See what happens.
No, I don't think the Ravens are going to be letting him walk.
I know, but we can dream. So, all right. Anything else, Chris?
No. Trying to think of something else. That's about it. I think everybody enjoyed the presser. Harbaugh knocked it out of the park.
Yes.
And he can't wait to get going. Workouts will start a little bit earlier because they got a new coach beginning in April for the off-season program. And that's that. So we'll see. It should be a fun time.
Yeah.
This guy, obviously because of what? The guy's a winner. He's got
Yep.
a winning resume. So this isn't Joe Judge with first timer. Sherman was a loser in Cleveland. Hoped he'd turn it around. He didn't. McAdoo's presser was comical. I was going to say his suit fit very well, Harbaugh. Very, very tight, baby. Nice.
Yeah.
He's a tight dude. He works out. Harbaugh works out.
You can tell he
He
does.
works out. Yeah, 63, squatting 300 pounds. So.
All right. Good stuff.
And that's about it.
Sundays are Harbaugh days. Nice. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah. Giants 8690. Great show as always. Yeah, thanks, man. I'm glad we got Chris's perspective tonight because I wanted to hear it as well. But it just, listen, man, watching that presser, like I said, I know he's got the history of winning and the success, but you get pretty amped listening to it. And I think the words carry more meaning from a guy like that than a first-time coach who's rah-rah and I mean, this is a professional who's been doing it a long time. And when he says he wants football guys and it's an honor to be here, like, oh man, this is awesome. Oh God, thank you. So yeah, he exudes confidence. Good stuff, man.
Yeah, that he does. That he does, Leslie.
We'll come back to you probably sometime next week. We'll let you know. Probably have a guest on sooner or later. And we'll go from there. All right, guys, hang in there. Good day today. Sundays are Giant days, baby. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.